Good evening. The opinions and statements voiced by our guests do not necessarily reflect the opinions of this network. Enjoy the shows.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
We've been expecting you.
Monday, time for our maven of the supernatural, Denise Pridemore. This is the Paranormal Pride. Join to listen and chat
We
live
had
at
ended up with
WBHM-DB.com or Spreaker app. Search WBHM-DB every Monday at 7 p.m. Central for your supernatural paranormal fix. Welcome to the Paranormal Pride, where the show is about the guest and the listener.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and tonight I've got a big surprise for you guys. I know you've all heard about the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash, and you've heard a lot about it from a lot of different people. And tonight we're going to have on the people that actually put on that huge event, Pamela and Steve Barry. Not only do they run that event and get great rave reviews for it all the time, they also own a historic lookout house in Gettysburg that's also haunted and available for renting for that kind of stuff, as well as just a regular B&B. Then you have, they have this is the Ghost Hunter store, right? Gettysburg Ghost Exchange. And so we've got a lot of things to talk about. And what's funny is that we have a lot of mutual friends, and we grew up around the same place. So if you're bored, you need to tell me. Because this may end up like Old Home Week, but not on purpose. So welcome, Pamela and Steve. I hope you guys are ready for an interesting evening.
Hey, guys. Yeah, we're all ready. Steve's here, too. We're ready to chit-chat.
Perfect. So, what do you want everybody to know about you guys?
Uh-oh, that's dangerous. What do you want to know?
Well, I mean, there's got to be things. There's no sound. No, what do you want people to know about you guys? That way it leaves it more up to you what you say as to what I ask.
Okay. So I moved from Baltimore, inner Baltimore City, up here to Gettysburg and surrounding areas. Actually, we live in Asper's. My kids, I decided that it was better as a single parent to raise my kids up here, which was a great, I'm glad that I took the chance and I took that journey here. So I raised my kids. I was working at local nursing homes for years and local hospitals, and I used to manifest my future. I would drive by the historic lookout house when I had my children in the car, and we would pack a picnic lunch, me and the kids, and the first thing that we would do is we would ride by the lookout house, and then one of them got to pick a destination on the battlefield where we would eat. And lo and behold, I'm the innkeeper here at the historic lookout house. I have two people that own the lookout house, Tanya and Russ and me, and we're just amazing partners. And we have become in the top 9 most haunted Airbnbs across the country. I'm trying to think everything we do. The Gettysburg Battlefield Bash is July 24, 25, 26. We are at 95 Presidential Circle at the Wyndham Hotel in Gettysburg. We raise money for Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors and Heroes for Hire. We have amazing vendors that come to support. We've got John Buckman, who gives rides to kids with cancer who have battled cancer and they became victorious. Lots to do there. You can meet Helen Sager. She's a Pennsylvania Wounded Warrior president. You can meet Gettysburg's finest police. The mayor's always at our event. So there's a lot. We're having a real big kids zone this year with a dunk tank. And we're having some really cool bands this year. We haven't even let everyone know that I think we're having about 8 bands this year. So we're announcing that on your show. And then, of course, we have the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange. We have become the place where the paranormal field gathers. We've met amazing people who have come to our doors. When you come to the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange, we'll welcome you with a cup of Deadly Grounds coffee, conversation, and friendship.
Sounds interesting. I wish I could have found you guys. Well, nobody was open when we were there back in 2017, and we walked all around. I think we probably walked a couple miles. We did find a few.
You just didn't find me, dear. I was there. We were at Baltimore Pike. We were a little bit out of town. Now we're at 271 Baltimore Street. We're with Mark Nesbitt.
Oh, okay. So you're basically on the street that we walked every time we were on there. So we went to the hotel where you guys have the bash. We walked through there. That was very pretty. It was very nice in there. And let's see, we met the guys that we met the husband and wife that own the Mason-Dixon distillery.
Awesome.
They were closed, but he happened to see us and invited us in. So we got a private tour of the distillery and got some rum. So we have some very nice, we brought some spirits back with us. And so we have our rum. We haven't even opened it yet, but we did try it while we were there. So we knew it was good. And like I said, we met the lady that owns the Budget Host Inn. She's an interesting woman. And so I must say, but like I said, we wanted to go, and I had been to Gettysburg way back when in 1977. I was not even born yet, but I went on school field trips, because, when you're from Baltimore, where do you go on school field trips? You go to Washington, D.C., you go to Gettysburg, you go to Philadelphia, you go to all these historic places. And it wasn't uncommon for me to have a paranormal experience when we went on school field trips. And being the weird kid, I didn't tell anybody. I'd tell my mom, I'd tell somebody. Somebody I trusted, but being the weird kid, I didn't tell anybody anything. And, of course, back when I went, it wasn't as commercialized as it is now.
Right.
So
it is.
It's a lot different now than it was. And that was my only disappointment was, I had told Ron stories about the different places that we went on the school field trips, and you couldn't get into any of them like we did back then. But that was the only thing I had a disappointment about. And I did. And the other disappointment is that we were looking for my granddaughter a bonnet. Okay. And that they sell them in half the stores there. Well, a lot of them were sold out. And I wanted one. Right. I did find one at down the road across the street from the Wyndham. And while we were I kept looking at it, and they said made in China. And I was like, when I was growing up, they were made by the Amish down the road. you could get them, down there. Well, apparently they're probably more expensive that way. But we got my granddaughter one, and she wears it in Vegas. So, she's
in Gettysburg.
Huh?
Have you done any investigations in Gettysburg?
Only basically our hotel room was haunted when we were at the Budget Host. And I was actually broadcasting live from there, which I will never do that there at that hotel again because I didn't have very good Wi-Fi. But I broadcast live, and the guest, she actually came in from Frederick, Maryland. She came up and she was sitting right next to me, and she kept saying, "I keep getting touched. This guy's touchy-feely." So we did go on the battlefield. We did do some things there, but of course, we all know that you can't take equipment out on the battlefield because they think you're looking for artifacts when you're not. But they don't know.
Support, but that's about it.
And we went out to Sachs Bridge.
Nice.
So we did do a few of those things. And
our investigations that we do public investigations. We do, of course, the Historic Lookout House. We do the Jenny Wade House. We do the Homestead Orphanage. We do Cashtown Inn, and we're going to be starting back with Fairfield Inn. So when you come in, if we're having a public investigation, we'll hook you up. Perfect.
Because I know we did happen to hear some dueling walking ghost tours while we were there. So we were walking around. We were at the Jenny Wade House, and it was closed. But the tour guide was there. She was coming in because they were doing a night investigation, and she heard somebody from outside say, it was hilarious the way she yelled back at her. But she goes, "Yeah, Jenny Wade doesn't like having her picture taken," and she yells out there. She said, "That's BS." And of course, it was much more flowery. And she kept yelling, "You don't know what in the world you're talking about," and all this. And all I could do was laugh. And she goes, "I just hate it when they lie about the spirits in our location." I said, "I know all about that." I said, "I've been I go, and that's why I tell her I was the tour guide at the Sally House at that point for 7 years. Right. And I get tired of any lies that are told." And she's like, "Yep." She just yelled out across the street at these people. So she was just hilarious. And we couldn't make it back in time for the other tour that was going to be at the orphanage and be investigating at the Jenny Wade House because we had walked everywhere, because traffic. I bet you traffic there is great right now, but nothing's open. But yeah.
We always do an investigation the night of Jenny Wade's death. We get amazing activity on July 3rd. So I have booked the Jenny Wade House for like 5 years out.
Oh, that's good. That's good that you did. So, because isn't that when the town is all full anyway with all the reenactors and all that other stuff anyway?
Bike Week this year is July 11th. I'm not sure when or if they're having the reenactment this year. That was up in the air because of sponsorships and things like that.
Yeah, I had heard that they weren't doing the reenactment this year because Glenn Beck had a big event coming in at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. Maybe they'll change their mind. I don't know.
I think Glenn Beck's going to have his
advisors
is still around.
Yeah.
I know that.
We'll see.
Who knows?
It's gone by, as soon as it can, and everyone remains healthy.
That's all we're all hoping for. The main thing is we all have to try to stay as positive as we can and support those people around us that are taking it a lot harder than we are.
Yeah, I know. Sitting here and we were looking at things on Facebook the other day, and I was like, you know what? I'm done. And Steve looks at me, and I'm like, you know what? I called Dunkin' Donuts, and I said, "Hi, I'm Pam. I own the Equinox. You might have saw us on Good Morning America. We take veterans to the doctors." And the guy was like, "Yes." I said, "I'm coming down to buy donuts. If you match my purchase, I'm taking them to the doctors and nurses." And we went through Gettysburg, and we did that. And we played really loud, patriotic music and just tried to boost people's spirits. And then the next day, we're friends with a man who owns Anticonopolis, and he did the same thing. We were like, let's buy pizzas and we'll go and feed people again. And this time Iggy came with us. So it was great.
Well, thank you. That is an excellent thing to do, is to let people know, hey, we're here, we care, and we're thanking you for all that you do. You know, because
exactly. It's easy to fall into depression, especially when your life's been just totally switched. So I decided I was going to flip the switch, and I'm going to still stay active as we can and just empower our community, because we have the most amazing community.
You do. I mean, I've seen it. You know, I've seen the pictures of the Battlefield Bash. I've heard from Kat and Gavin Kelly and so many other people. I mean, I could probably name off 50 people off the top of my head that have been to the Battlefield Bash and have said that it's the event that they want to go to every year.
Oh, that's nice to know.
So that's a big deal, to be that well respected. When a lot of these other events are losing people, you guys seem to be gaining them.
Well, I'll tell you, each one of the people that are on TV are special. I mean, everyone's special when it comes to the event, and I make a point to let everyone know that. But the people that are on TV, you know, I'll ramble some names off, and I don't want to miss anyone, you know, like Scott Porter. Everyone wants to meet Scott and Stephanie. They come free. Mm-hmm. They come, and they are there. They are at the event. They are working with, you know, our people. They are entertaining them. They are making our guests know that they're special. So, you know, I try to point these people out, and I say, watch their TV shows, because they care. They're here, and they're giving their time. You know, Kat comes, she goes live. Ted comes, he goes live. You know, and everybody that comes is just an amazing part, and I can't imagine if anybody wouldn't come. You know, a big slot would be missing, because everyone, it's like a puzzle piece. Everyone comes together, you know. So there are staples.
And then you guys have some of the best volunteers.
We do. We have amazing volunteers, and they're there because they want to be there, and they're not getting paid a penny. But what they get back in terms of heartfelt thanks from these kids who have cancer and from our wounded warriors, you can't monetarily connect. You know, you can't. It's not a monetary thing, you know.
Yep, I totally understand that, because, you know, I know that, you know, Susan wasn't feeling all that great, and she was still there volunteering last year.
She was. I tell you, Susan and Glenn are they're amazing. They're rocks. They're there when you need them. And we're praying for Susan every day to bounce back from this surgery and get back. We're not going to be able to keep up with her soon. No,
you're not. I don't think so. And she just checked. I didn't know she was in the chat, and she says she loves us all, loves you all. So, but yeah, she's on my prayer list every single day. And so is Glenn. I can't wait for them to be chasing Nicholas around in the yard. But at this point, we're at our first break. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll be back with Pam and Steve in just a few minutes.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
To the believer, the evidence is overwhelming. To the skeptic, there will never be enough. Hello, everyone. Join Kevin and Jennifer Malik, the host of Paraversal Universe, every Friday here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting. Also heard on WCET-FM and The Rift. Log on or tune in as they check out the mysteries found within the 8 categories of the unknown and unexplained, including ghosts and haunted places, aliens and UFOs, theology and mythology, cryptids and monsters, urban legends and folklore, conspiracies, metaphysics, and forbidden archaeology. Listen as Kevin and Jennifer interview the top minds in their respective fields as they share theories and information regarding these unsolved mysteries. For future show and archive information, one can find Paraversal Universe on Facebook, Twitter, and MeWe under various Paraversal Universe headings. So, for excellent talk radio about the unknown and unexplained, check out Paraversal Universe, where all paranormal perspectives apply. Brought to you by the Northern Wisconsin Paranormal Society, Ltd., and produced by WBHM-DB.com.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight are Pam and Steve Barry from Gettysburg. And I know a lot of you people have already heard what I said earlier. So Pam says she's going to hand the phone over to Steve so he can get a word in edgewise. This may be his only chance.
Great. Hold up for a minute. Here he is.
Pam's so good at interviewing. I'll usually let her take care of it.
Well, but like I said, we figured we'd give you a chance to get a word in edgewise while you got a chance.
I never get edgewise with Pam. She always takes over the whole interview.
Well, that's the way we Baltimore girls are. Take over everything. We're large and in charge. So Steve, how did you get involved with the paranormal?
I've been doing it for about 27 years. I started doing it with my mother when my mom was alive, back in the 80s, 70s, actually in the 70s, I'd say.
Oh, what you did? Cool.
But she used to do grave rubbings for the Audubon Society. She belonged to the Audubon Society, so they used to have a contest who could find the oldest gravestone, and you do a rubbing on it. And she actually came in third. She didn't find the oldest. So we were in the graveyard doing the rubbing, and someone told us to get out, and we were the only ones in the graveyard. And she goes, "Did you hear that?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then we heard it again, and she says, "I think it's time to leave," and we left.
I wish you would have kept some of her grave rubbings. That would have been cool to have.
There, my sister probably hasn't.
Yeah, we went on. We used to do tours up in Atchison, and that was one of the tours that they would have was going out to one of the oldest graveyards there and do grave rubbings. But, there were some they weren't allowed to do them on because they were in that bad of shape. But, yeah, it was fun watching everybody come back with these big bright-eyed looks on their faces because we never got to go on the rubbing tour. We got to go, which sounds really bad now, but we did the graveyard tours a lot of times. They would send us out with, her name is Liz Lane, and she was just recently on Hauntings in the Heartland, and but she would do the tours, and she'd ask us to come out because she wanted us to bring the dowsing rods and do, ask the spirits questions at each of the graves that she would stop at and talk about. And she knew the answers to the questions. She just wanted to see if we got the answers right. And it's like, it isn't us getting the answers right. I said, it's the spirits telling us. And so she was just amazed that we were 100% correct. And we'd never been on the tour before. And, the next time we went on the tour, she'd ask the same question. She said she asked the same questions. I was like, I don't know, because when you see 600-700 people a season, you don't remember. Sometimes we saw 600 or 700, 500 or 600 people a day, but you just don't remember everybody or the questions. You remember the people, but you don't remember the questions, that kind of stuff. So, but so was your mom into the iconology on the grave sites or on the gravestones, or?
No, she just did the rubbings. That was a contest. She could find the oldest one, so she was just having fun doing it. And we just went out there and we looked for the oldest one. We went to the graveyards that were like way back in the woods that they were abandoned actually. And she tried finding it. And this was in New Jersey at the time.
Really? Where in New Jersey?
Yeah, up by High Point.
I used to live in Paterson, New Jersey.
Well, my parents used to own half of Wayne.
Oh.
Grandparents. They owned half of Wayne Township.
Which isn't very far.
Back in the 1800s, early 1900s, they owned almost all, pretty much of Wayne Township. They owned from the Preakness College all the way down Ratchet Road, all the way to Valley Road.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
they owned all that property. Yeah, there's actually a baseball field named after my great grandfather down there. Because he gave the baseball field to the Little League. Dotterwich Field.
Oh, wow.
Yep. That was my great grandfather's property. He donated it to the kids. And the kids boys camp or boys club is there. He donated that property too.
Have you been back to see if there's any hauntings in that area?
Garside Avenue. Excuse me?
Have you been back to see if there's any hauntings in the areas where you used to live, or?
No, I haven't been back to Jersey in a while. It's probably been it's probably a year. We went there a year ago, but yeah, we went to Clinton Road.
Okay.
That was over my house. I'm from Jefferson Township, which is actually by Lake Epacon, which is more north of Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
So by West Milford, you know where West Milford was?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's that area. So I just came over to Clinton Road, to the haunted Clinton Road, and nothing really happened. Because I lived there for my whole life. I never had anything happen on that road. But that road is really freaky. And we got a deli sandwich. Yeah. You probably got to have a real deli sandwich. A New Jersey sandwich, not this Pennsylvania food.
Oh, yeah. The best pizza I ever had was in Paterson. It was Sunray Pizza. I still remember it to this day. And it's a mix of New Jersey style with New York style, and just that was it, But I haven't been back there since 1979, maybe 1980. Was the last time I was back in Paterson. And like I said, it was changed, but it didn't change that much. I mean, I when you tell people, hey, I went to school number 5, they look at you like, what? Didn't have a name? Nope, it was school number 5. And they kind of look at you weird. Oh, yeah, it was kindergarten through 12th grade. I'm like, what?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, or you say, yeah, we used to go home for lunch. You'd walk to school in the morning, you'd come home for lunch, and I had all-day kindergarten. Even back in 1970, and they look at you like, really? Yeah, it was really. We did. So it was different, and we had a lot of different things happen out there. Had a lot of different hauntings. The thing is I don't remember the names of the places that we went, except for there was this mansion on top of Garrett Mountain, which was just recently on TV. On the Holzer Files, and it's like, well, I went there. It was a museum when I was a kid, Yeah. And my uncle lived near the bottom of the mountain right before you turn right to go up the mountain. And it's like, okay. And my dad worked at the mills. So like I said, I knew all these places when they were driving by. So it was really different. So I don't.
Garrett Mountain.
Huh?
Back in high school, I ran track at Garrett Mountain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was one of our venues we went to when we went against Paterson. So we used to run them up there. So
I remember there were some steep parts of that mountain. And the thing is they call it a mountain, but it really isn't that high.
yeah, it's Patterson.
But it was an interesting place for sure. And so do you like living in Gettysburg?
Oh yeah, I love it. I went from Jersey over to Pennsylvania. I lived up in Milford Township by the border of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania for about 10 years. And then I met Pam. We were actually doing the Paranormal After Party TV show down here. And that's how I met Pam, where we were filming Wilson College, the Wilson College episode. So I met her, and then it ended up dating. She was going through a divorce, and came down here and moved down here and bought a house down here.
So how long have you guys been married?
4 years? Yeah, 4 years.
Well, congratulations.
4 years. 3, 5 years. Yeah, 4 years.
Well,
it was 5.
It'll be 5 in May.
That was close.
It'll be 5 in May. When in May?
I had to look at her when he asked that question. I was like, is it 4 or 5?
28.
Yeah.
So May 20th?
28.
28th? Okay, so you got married on Memorial Day weekend, huh?
Yep.
So did we.
We got married and we opened our store on the same day.
Yeah, Ron and I got married on Memorial Day weekend, but back in 1984.
We got married in the Capitol on Little Round Top.
Oh, I got married in Middle River. It's some little the Middle River Baptist Church is where we got married, but
I know that is. Exactly where that is.
Yep. There was like 6 of us there, 7. So it was, but like I said, it was Memorial Day weekend on a Saturday. Everybody went camping. So, but we went out. Well, we went back home. And all we did. But yeah, it was, like I said, we share the same taste in when to get married, Memorial Day weekend.
Nice.
So got a lot of things in common here.
Yes, we do.
Kind of odd. So we have weird tastes in friends, and
It's like typing real quick now. I'm going to get your post.
oh no, oh, well, we have a lot of weird friends. We'll just keep it at that. But since moving to Gettysburg, what is your favorite place to check out that you don't own?
Well, first thing the best thing moving to Gettysburg, I don't find potholes. They take very good care of the roads here. So,
Cashtown Inn.
Cashtown Inn, yours?
Cashtown Inn and Fairfield Inn, the places that, well, you know what? I love the orphanage, too. I like to get in that pit and do an EVP session, but I don't know. I like Cashtown Inn. I enjoy Jack and his stories. I like to go in the basement of Cashtown Inn. You know, there's so many different reasons. I love Jenny Wade up in the back room.
Got Bruce Springsteen guitar in there that could become mine one day.
And I don't know. I just like walking the battlefield and, you know, just letting.
There's so much to really even choose from in Gettysburg that to say something is your favorite could be today. There's something new you could find, and that could be your favorite.
I enjoy the bridge, Eisenhower Bridge, also known as Suicide Bridge. I enjoy going over there.
Where is that at?
Suicide Bridge
By Sachs.
is by Sachs Bridge.
By Sachs
Oh,
Bridge.
okay. Okay, so we've probably been there and didn't even know it.
I really like the Bloody Brickyard, too. There's a painting back there worth $250,000, and it's life-size, and it depicts exactly what happened in the brickyard that day. You get an amazing visual, and it's such a small part of the battlefield. It's actually in town, and people drive by it, and they just don't realize how significant the Brickyard was. So you have to visit the Bloody Brickyard. I got an amazing EVP there.
I think my favorite spot in the battlefield, believe it or not, is the trolley.
The trolley?
The trolley path, because I just like it. I don't know, something brings me back.
It's secluded. They used to have an old trolley that used to take tourists on top of Little Round Top. On top of Devil's Den until there was an accident.
Of course.
And they stopped doing the trolley. But the trolley, the tracks and the paths, they're still there.
The tracks aren't there.
We'll have to show you.
The path is there.
Yeah, you have to show us because, like I said, when we went this last time, other than, every time we decided to go to the battlefield, as soon as we get out of the car, it started raining.
Oh.
So it rained. We went and we were driving around, and so we were up on Little Round Top looking around, and it's just pouring, not pouring down rain, but just enough rain to make it miserable for you. And so every time we got out, it was like, okay, well, I'm getting all wet again. So, but if we decided to just walk to town, we didn't have that. It was just while we were on the battlefields. And everybody who listens to me knows anytime we go to a battlefield, doesn't matter which battlefield, it rains. It's rained on us at Perryville. It's rained on us at down the road here. We live in Kansas, and there's one little battlefield down here called Mine Creek. We get out there, it starts to rain. We went to Wilson's Creek down in Springfield, Missouri. Same thing. Went to Middle Creek Battlefield in Eastern Kentucky. Rained. So, like I said, it doesn't matter which battlefield we go to. Just be prepared. If you're ever with us, you might want to have an umbrella.
And boots. All right.
Yep. So, also, another thing is, have you ever seen a mountain lion at the Devil's Den Park?
Someone took a photo.
You saw that.
And they showed me a photo in the store, yeah.
Because we saw one.
Oh, you actually saw it?
Yeah, when we were there on one of those, that rainy evening, we had just gotten there, we decided to go for a ride, and Ron stopped the car, and because there's nobody behind us or anything, so he stopped the car and we were looking around, and he goes, "Did you see that?" I said, "Yeah, I kind of did." And he goes, "It looks like a mountain lion." And I go, "Yeah, it did. It looked like," because we have mountain lions here where we live. Of course, they're just rogue, but it was just kind of weird to see because I had not heard anybody saying that they had seen any out there, but I know that they're in the mountains in that area. So apparently that evening it was hungry and wanted to come into town and get some carry out.
I'm not going to take my dog there then. Thanks for,
So
they were there. Someone came to the store with a picture of one on their phone, and then I called the park rangers to let them know, and they said it wasn't the first report they gotten.
So
but it seems like the mountain lion's not bothering anyone. It's just running around.
As long as it's not bothering anybody, I don't care. It can hang around all at once. So apparently we went through. Looks like we went through Cashtown on our way to Gettysburg.
Okay.
We came from the turnpike.
Okay.
Apparently down 30 and in town. So apparently, like I said, I could have swore we went through there, but I wasn't sure.
You probably did. You probably did come to Fortana, Cashtown, down 30. Yeah.
Yeah, because we went through Chambersburg as well, I believe.
Yeah.
So.
Right by down then.
Yeah, the only thing is don't like the turnpike, but it is the fastest way to get there from here.
Boring.
Well, we had, we took 70 to a certain point, and 70 is weird, especially going through Maryland and up through West Virginia. It's just weird. So, but
in Cumberland, Maryland.
coming back.
But probably got off in Breezewood.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we got off in Breezewood, and like I said, we drove from Kansas City to St. Louis to Springfield, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
And then from Springfield, Ohio into Gettysburg from there. So it's a long drive from out here, but I really enjoyed, well, after we got off the turnpike, I kind of enjoyed seeing all these little towns between there and Gettysburg.
Yeah.
So, but that's how I saw Cashtown. That's how I knew when you said that. I remember seeing it and driving through there. And somebody else had told me something about someplace in Cashtown that was haunted besides the Cashtown Inn.
Oh, okay.
And it was probably our friend Joe, who's also from Glen Burnie area. He went to Meade. And so I think it was him that was telling me about this other place out there. So, but before we get started on anything else, we're going to go ahead and take our next break. You guys, if you have any questions for Pam or Steve, please put them in the chats and I will make sure I get them asked and answered. And you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We will be back in just a little bit, but get those questions in there because you don't want to regret not asking your questions. So we'll talk to you guys soon.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight are Pam and Steve Barry. And one of the questions in the chat room that I was starting to type in an answer to, April asked how close they were to you. Well, April, you're in the Virginia Beach area. They're in Gettysburg. So what is that, like 4.5, 5 hours?
It's about 4 hours. I love Virginia Beach, though. Love it.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Because it sounded like you stopped real suddenly. Yeah, I've been to Virginia Beach a couple times myself.
Yeah, I've taken classes at the ARE, the Edgar Casey College there.
Well, if you ever go out there, I have family out there too. So
awesome.
just go. My family's all over the place. So, but yeah, April lives out there, and she's really into the paranormal stuff. There's the fairy plantation is out there. There's a bunch of lighthouses that are haunted. My niece and her husband told me about an old haunted jail that's down there. So,
nice.
So I hear about all these places, and we just haven't been. Ron has never been out there, at least not that I know of.
Sounds like you need to make a road trip.
We do need to make a road trip. When my mom passed, she wanted her ashes in the thrown into the Chesapeake Bay.
Oh, okay.
Illegal, but I'm going to do it. I'm just not going to tell anybody when.
I'll go with you if you want.
So, yeah, me and my sisters it was her last wish was that we all did it together. So we got to do that at some point. And, the Chesapeake Bay's in Virginia Beach. Doesn't mean I have to go to Baltimore to do it. So, but I will tell you one thing. If I ever make it out there, the only thing I want is I want scrapple, but not pork scrapple because we don't eat pork. I tried finding it when we were out there because in Virginia Beach, I did find beef scrapple once. But since then, I haven't been able to find any beef scrapple anywhere.
I eat Rappa scrapple.
Right. Well, Rappa makes a beef one.
Okay.
They also make a turkey one. But again, we don't. There's no scrapple here in Kansas.
Oh, you poor girl.
0. So we did get, while we were there in Gettysburg, we did stop at Giant to try to get some. They didn't have any.
Right.
We stopped.
I know a restaurant that serves really good scrapple. So.
Oh, I bet you do, because I know Glenn makes it himself. He shares pictures all the time. So, and for those of you who don't know, scrapple is exactly what it sounds like. It's scrap, and I always called it the original gray meat.
Yes, it's amazing.
So, I mean, I've been eating it my whole life, just only when I could find it at this point. So, but it's one of those weird things. But see, I already have people offering to make me some. And Carl has a question, and his question is, let me get back to this. I lost my chat. Where did it go, Kat? So I can't see the question that you had. So I can't see the question. Okay. So Pam and Steve, when you guys go on investigations, what type of equipment do you guys take, and what's your favorite equipment to take?
My favorite is static meter.
Recorder. I think your best evidence is done on a recorder when you do EVPs, especially when you're in a room by yourself and you ask questions. You do a playback instantly, and you get a reply. You know that's the best evidence ever.
Perfect.
Yeah, there's something called a phonopod that it comes with headphones, and you stick your voice recorder into the headphones, and it amplifies what you're hearing. So you can sit the one unit, it's 2 units. You sit the unit down, and then you walk away from it with your recorder plugged into your headphones. And you can hear for maybe a quarter mile. So
oh, wow.
It really amplifies, so you're hearing on the level of a dog as you're listening. And we've gotten some amazing EVPs, and people have said, that's not an EVP, that's too clear. Well, use a phonopod, and maybe you'll get some too, like that. So
yeah, I've heard about that. And I know that I've also used just earbuds with my recorder and listen live, and you can hear them live. I mean, you don't need a real EVP if you can hear it live as it's happening. So it's like I said, bad part is that sometimes the recorder doesn't get it, but you hear it yourself.
Right. That's very true. And I think a thing that we had been missing when we are playing, we we take like 5 or 6 questions, and then we do a playback. So we're doing real-time EVPs while we're investigating. And while we're listening to the recorder, sometimes we're getting answers to the recorder again from spirits. So I had said to Steve, we need to start recording our playback.
Oh, yeah. And that would make sense because sometimes, you didn't hear it the first time, but the second time you might hear it in there.
Exactly.
And it might be, and, it's still white noise.
Right. It's a good way to validate, too, because you might pick up the same person trying to speak to you.
Oh, yeah. So, and then your other message, the other question we have for you is from Gary, and he asks, what is your most vivid paranormal experience?
Well, when I was a child, I saw a lady at the foot of my grandmother's bed, and it was actually one of my first experiences. And she was just standing there looking at me. And I see her from time to time still as an adult. And when I see her, I know that there's a pivotal time in my life. Something's either going to be good or bad. She's like my messenger, so she's my spirit guide. But the first time I saw her, I thought that I was haunted. So
why?
That's because she follows me, and she's with me. So as a child, I could sense her and I could feel that she was with me. And I really thought that now I know it's okay. It's not a bad thing. I know it's my spirit guide and she's my protector. But as a child, I really thought that I was haunted. I had a terrifying childhood.
If you were seeing spirits when you were a child, you probably did have a horrifying childhood.
The constellation was another early, I saw a man, and I was with my sister on her class field trip, and I was very young, and there was a man, and he said to me, you can get on my bed. So I got on the bed, and my mother, she took me down. She said, stop that. You're embarrassing me. And he said a little bit later, he came back, and he goes, I said you could get on my bed. And so I got on the bed again, and my mother was furious with me. Now, mind you, we went to Catholic school, so the nuns were not happy that this kid was crawling on a bed in the constellation, but I got on it twice.
And this was below deck. This is below deck, right? And what? Let's see, probably the second level down.
Yep.
About halfway between the between the stern between the front and the back.
Yep, and he was on the left-hand side.
Because I had an experience on the USS Constellation in 1976 on a school field trip, and it was down in the storage is where it was mostly storage now.
Okay.
And it was I had to say it was like a cabin boy.
Okay.
That I had an experience with there, and I had seen these other men in other parts of the boat. But again, things I wasn't allowed to say, back in the day.
Right.
Did you ever go to Edgar Allan Poe's house?
No, but I'm going to hand the phone. Steve was one of the first people that had gone in there with the team. Here,
Baltimore, I was in the first one. Going to Baltimore. I was doing the Admiral Fell In and the Edgar Allan Poe house. I did it exactly when the movie The Raven came out.
Oh, now that was one of the few movies I paid to go see. Although I never paid to go on the Edgar Allan Poe house. I was sneaking in there.
I went over there. We filmed there. I was on the TV show Ghost Detectives at the time. And went in there. We were the first ones to go in there and do that. Then The Raven came out. The movie The Raven came out. All the news articles went worldwide on that. That we were actually investigating that house at the time because the movie came out. So that was pretty cool.
I love that movie. but again, I loved Edgar Allan Poe, and I've been stalking John Cusack since about 1977, 78. I'm not very good at it. I finally met him 2 years ago. So
Admiral Fell In place is a cool place too. That hotel there, right by the water. That place is really nice too.
There was I actually had family that lived down in Fells Point, and they would tell stories that my grandmother would say, "You can't tell your mom." You know, first of all, that we went down there because the Pussycat Club was down there, and there's a whole different story there. But we would go down there, and they would tell us stories of shadow sailors coming by. They would just see lines of them walking down Fells Point. And so I remember all these things because my grandmother would take me to places, and that, first of all, I wasn't supposed to be. You know, because Baltimore back in the day did not care how old your kids were if they were in the bar. They just wouldn't serve you. Some of them would. But, you know, she would take me to these places, and they would start telling me all these stories about these ghost things that would happen. Did you ever have any paranormal experiences at the USS Torque?
I've been in it,
No,
but I haven't had it.
I was in it. I didn't have an experience in it, but I went through there's 3 ships there at the time. There's the Torsk. There is what's the other one?
Constellation.
The Constellation. There was another ship there too.
Might have been
One was a sub. One was the ship. Huh?
the Lady Baltimore.
No, it wasn't that one.
I don't know.
There's 3 there that I can't remember the third one. But we went through them. The sub was really fun to go through.
Yeah, it was, especially since it looked like a big shark.
Yep.
So, like I said, I remember the day we went to the USS Constellation was the same day we went to the Torque. So we got to see all of that at once. But yeah, so you might have been the first team to investigate the Edgar Allan Poe house, but I was one of the probably few people that can remember breaking into the place and finding out that it was haunted. So I wasn't supposed to be down there. You know,
the room is in his house. You get up in the Edgar Palace. Have you ever been in that house?
Yeah.
Yeah, you went upstairs all the way to the top?
Yep, I've been through the whole house.
Very small.
Bill Hartley was the caretaker for the Edgar Allan Poe, who was on, what was the show?
He was on the Paranormal Pride. Yeah, Ghost of Shepherdstown, but he was on my show as well.
Okay.
Him and Carissa were on my show. In fact, she had me they had us invited to the wedding, and then they ended up eloping.
Yeah.
So, yep. So, see, that Baltimore connection goes really far. We can get all kinds of people. So, you know what? We are coming up on our top of the hour news break. So, you guys, any questions, please put them in the chat, and we will be back after the top of the hour news break. So this is your chance to go get a drink of water or whatever you're doing tonight, and go to the restroom, take out the dog. But we'll be back. You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Support for this podcast and the following message come from the Almond Board of California, representing California's almond community, a collection of family-run farms dedicated to making life better through innovation and responsibly producing a healthy food. More at almondsustainability.org.
Live from NPR News in Washington, I'm Jack Speer. President Trump told governors today the forecast is for more coronavirus deaths if the nation does not incorporate social distancing. President also saying the number of reported coronavirus cases isn't likely to peak for several weeks, which is part of the reason for an extension of that order. The announcement comes as some governors were announcing extended guidelines of their own. Here's NPR's Maura Liasson.
For now, the president has caught up with the governors. There is a consensus among mostly Democratic governors, some Republican governors too. They are leading the way. They have already extended their restrictions until the end of April. Now the president is catching up with them. And what we see from public opinion polls are that voters overwhelmingly accept this painful trade-off. They're willing to take these restrictions, at least for now, rather than risk the public health.
NPR's Maura Eliason. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has put out an urgent plea for medical volunteers as the number of deaths from COVID-19, the disease caused by the fast-spreading coronavirus, mount in his state. Cuomo says the stress being put on the city's medical systems is likely a preview of what other states and cities across the country will face. Cuomo's plea came as more than 1,200 people in New York State have now died, most in New York City. Navy hospital ship arrived there today to help relieve some of the pressure on city hospitals. Ford says it will build ventilators at a plant in Michigan, aiming to produce 50,000 of them by midsummer. NPR's Camila Dominowski reports production will start at the end of April.
Ford is working with GE Health to build a relatively simple ventilator, licensed from a small medical technology company. Auto workers who choose to participate will build the ventilators at a component plant in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Ford has a more complicated ventilator project in the works also. Meanwhile, General Motors is preparing to build ventilators at a plant in Indiana starting next month. The Trump administration first asked automakers to produce ventilators, then threatened to force them. But it has not actually finalized contracts to buy those ventilators. Ford says those talks are continuing. Camila Dominowski, NPR News.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says lawmakers have started assembling proposals for the next round of coronavirus relief legislation. In a conference call today, Pelosi said Congress should focus next on how to meet healthcare workers and others' needs who are treating patients.
Our heroic healthcare workers are falling ill with the very disease they are working to treat. Our very first responders, TSA officers, firefighters, law enforcement, TSA officers, and other frontline workers are being put in jeopardy, as well as putting their families in jeopardy.
Pelosi says the next bill should also include extended family and medical leave, increased food stamp benefits, and another round of direct cash payments for eligible Americans. Stocks moved higher today on Wall Street, partly in response to big gains in some healthcare companies. The Dow was up 690 points. The Nasdaq rose 271 points. This is NPR. Canada says it will effectively nationalize many of its private payrolls. The government there saying that businesses, large and small, will be given a 75% wage subsidy for their employees due to the coronavirus pandemic. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau says businesses that have seen a 30% decrease in revenues are eligible. Canada's Prime Minister says the government will cover up to 75% of the salary of the first $58,700 Canadian dollars earned. Reproductive rights groups are filing a lawsuit aimed at keeping abortions available in Iowa during the coronavirus pandemic. That follows an order by that state's Republican governor, Kim Reynolds, to suspend abortions. NPR's Sarah McCammon has more.
Iowa's Governor Kim Reynolds is among a growing number of Republican state officials who've sought to force an end to most abortions in their states during the pandemic. Reproductive health groups say abortion is an essential procedure that should not be delayed, but some officials who oppose abortion rights say the procedures should be canceled during the pandemic to help preserve supplies like masks and surgical gowns. The American Civil Liberties Union and Planned Parenthood have filed a lawsuit in a county district court in Iowa asking the court to block the governor's order prohibiting most abortions. Sarah McCammon, NPR News.
Pope Francis's vicar for Rome has tested positive for the coronavirus in what is being described as the first case of a cardinal close to the Pope known to have been infected. Cardinal Angelo De Donatis was in touch with Francis in recent weeks, though apparently not in person. The church says that De Donatis is reported to be in good condition at Rome's Gemelli Hospital, where he's receiving antiviral treatments. I'm Jack Speer, NPR News, in Washington.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore. I hope everybody's having a great night. My guests tonight are Pamela and Steve Barry from Gettysburg, Battlefield Bash, Gettysburg Ghost Exchange, the Haunted Lookout House Bed and Breakfast. So all of those are they got to be doing you a lot of good there. Basically, you've said you've made some of the best friends that you could have ever made by, first of all, just owning the store, but then you have this great event and this great location, and you guys do all these investigations.
We do keep busy.
Oh, yeah. Before the end of the show, we make sure that we get everybody all the information again so that they'll have that handy if they decide they want to come to the Battlefield Bash. But
awesome.
The main thing is, guys, if you plan on going to the Battlefield Bash, you need to get your hotel room booked pretty soon. And they won't take the money out until you arrive in most cases. So
the way that you get it is you have to hit the link. Don't call the Wyndham. You have to hit a link that I put up in the Bash Facebook page. You hit that. It does not take your money out. It just secures your room.
That's what I'd read. And then, and if you don't want to stay at the hotel with everybody else, you got 75 other hotels in the immediate area. So, and you're not doing, you could probably walk down there from anywhere in that area. Believe me, it was from where we stayed to that. It was maybe a half mile, 3/4 of a mile. To the circle.
Yeah.
So, and you walk by so many interesting things.
Yeah, you have to drive though. If from the Wyndham into Gettysburg, it's probably 10 miles to Wyndham into Gettysburg Circle. 8 miles, 5 miles.
Oh.
No, about 2 miles.
2 miles? Okay, Steve says 2 miles.
I was gonna say it wasn't that far. I mean, we walked down there from where we were at. It didn't seem like it was very far. But of course, you're talking to people who walk around Vegas for half a day, and my phone says we only did 27,000 steps. So
heck, that's not me. I drive.
we try to, when we're on vacation, we try to walk as much as we can. So, back to some of you guys' experiences outside of Gettysburg and now outside of Baltimore. What are some of the places that you guys want to go to experience the paranormal at?
On my bucket list, I would say it's the Villisca Axe Murder House. I've been obsessed with that house since I was a kid. I really need to go there and investigate.
Okay, well, here's a secret for you. Not that it's a real secret. My husband's great uncle was the sheriff in that investigation.
Oh, my God. We have so much in common.
Yep. And then the Axe Murder House that was 4 days before that in Paola, Kansas, is 17 miles from here.
Oh, wow.
Yep. Okay. You can't get into that one to investigate. But we've been to the Villisca Axe Murder House 6 or 7 times since 2009.
Oh, I want to go there so bad.
But
what's on your bucket list, Steve?
I don't know. It caught me off guard. Honestly. I don't know, honestly.
Oh, he's thinking about it.
I always want to go to Winchester House.
I knew you were going to say that. The Sarah Winchester House, he said.
That's an interesting place, for sure. So, I know I've never been there. I've been to California. I just haven't been up near San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
So, just hasn't been on my bucket list to go there. So, but there are, like I said, I could tell you stories about the Villisca Axe Murder House. And if you do the Villisca Axe Murder House, you might as well try to get in on the Malvern Manor while you're out there, since it's only about 30 miles away.
That's true.
We know the owner. We're good friends.
All right.
So it's Ron's family's from up there. So we've gotten to know quite a few people up in that area. So it's an interesting history. The bad part is there's a lot of books about it that aren't very honest.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So
I know paranormal investigator stabbed himself or something, and I was like, oh, stop.
Oh, yeah. I think it's because he saw it on Ghost Adventures, that the father turned around and stabbed himself in the hand with a knife, thinking, that a ghost made him do it. I was like, somebody's just looking for some attention.
Yeah.
So, I asked some questions around, and nobody wants to answer the question whether or not they think was attention getting or mental instability or something else along those lines. Nobody wants to answer those questions. But they did interview the guy on one of the shows they brought him in and talked to him, and I was like, you're just feeding into it a little bit more. But yeah, it just didn't seem, when I read the article in the newspaper and then heard some of the interview, it didn't jive. It had, there's something wasn't right there. And I've talked to some other investigators that know the guy, and they think it was just for attention. But again, there's so much paranoia in the paranormal community that somebody's going to get some attention because of something that I don't know who to believe on their opinions. I'm just giving my opinion is my opinion. Not that doesn't reflect on the network at all. Mine is just, it just didn't seem kosher. That's all. So, I've been in the house a lot of times. Yeah, it makes me weird for about 2 weeks. For 2 weeks, I'm a very strange, hard to live with person.
Are you angry, or are you scared, or like, what do you mean?
I'm usually angry. I think I take on the personality of Sarah, the mother. I think I take on her personality because I wasn't able to protect my kids.
Okay, got ya.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's even sadder when you go out to the graveyard.
Aww.
It's just down the road from the house, and seeing that there wasn't 8 people that died that day, that there was 9. And when you see that, people go, well, there's only 8 listed. Well, the Stillinger's mother, the mother of the Stillinger girls, was pregnant, and ended up having her baby ended up being stillborn from the news that her daughters had been killed. So there's how you get 9.
Got ya.
And it was the same day. So that right there is just one more thing that makes you get even madder. And but we've had a lot of interesting experiences at the house. We did this one session, and Ron had out the Echovox, and we were asking questions, and I heard monkey. We were asked the kids all their favorite toys, and we're getting all these answers, and the word monkey kept coming out. We couldn't find a monkey in the room. Couldn't find it anywhere. So we go and we decide we're going to stop. We open up the attic door and we look in there, and there's the monkey.
Oh, wow.
And the thing is they had the attic roped off during day tours. You couldn't go in there at that time. Times before we could, times after we could. This time you just couldn't. And so I went downstairs and told Johnny, I said, you got to go get the monkey out of the attic. And he goes, why? I said, because the kids want their monkey. And he goes, how'd the monkey get in there? He goes, it wasn't in there before. I said, I don't know. I said, all I know is that the kids want the monkey. And so it was just funny, strange. But like I said, if you're empathic at all, most people will feel something in that house. Even if you don't know the history of the house, I think if you walk in there and you don't know it, you would feel it.
That house has been drawing me since I was a child.
Mine, I had the same experience, but I was drawn to the Sally house, the Sally house, the Villisca Axe Murder house, and McPike Mansion were the 3 that's been drawing me since 1994.
Yeah.
And the Sally house and the Villisca Axe Murder house have the same street address.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So think about that for a second. 2 of the most haunted houses in each state have the same address. So it is odd when you think about it. And I used to even tease people when I did the tours at the Sally house. I'd say, yep, and 5 and 8 equal 13. After 1408, one, and they'd go, oh, that's creepy. I was like, It's just random numbering of houses. I'm sorry.
No, that's weird. That's really cool.
Yeah, Johnny Hauser, he said the same thing. He goes, "Yep, that's just really strange when you think about that the place that I do tours at and the place you do tours at have the same address." I was like, "Yep." And he goes, "And yours is one of the places I won't go back to." He's been back, but he said he swore back then he'd never go back. But that was a long time ago. But so you probably follow Johnny Hauser too.
From time to time, yeah.
He's an interesting dude. So
yeah, I get so busy with things that we do, then I have to play catch up with people.
I do too. It's just there's certain people I always know what they're doing, and other people not so much.
Right.
So, but let's see. I know we're coming up on a break here in a little bit. Let's see. We gotta get back to Steve though. Forgot to let him answer the question about his most vivid paranormal experience.
Here he is.
You have to hold it to your mouth, babe. What's the question?
Your most vivid paranormal experience
would be Moundsville. I was filming in Moundsville. Actually, we weren't filming. We were doing the event there. But we did have cameras with us, and I was with my friend Flip. We were up in the infirmary up there, and there's 2 cells. And he took the one to the left, I took the one to the right. And he says, "You ready?" We're about to turn our cameras on. I looked into the cell, and the face was staring at me from the inside of the cell, and it just dissipated.
Oh, wow.
Flip looked over at me, and he goes, "What did you just see?" And I didn't say a word. And I said, "How you know I saw something?" He goes, "'Cause you're pitch white right now." But, yeah, that was the coolest thing I ever saw.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it was just sitting there staring at me. I was with Alexander Holzer on that investigation, too. And I asked her to let me have the key to the cell, and she wouldn't let me have it. She said it was demonic what was ever in there. And I'm like, "No, it's not. Just give me the key." But they wouldn't give me the key.
Ah. So
felt so bad, because that's what we do. You know, we investigate the cells, and they wouldn't give it to me.
Well, you know, that's one way to keep you under control, not give in to you. So I knew you guys were all friends with Alexander Holzer, because I knew that, you know, Glenn had posted some things about her. I've never talked to her.
She's a very nice person. Very nice person.
She seems like it, and
yep.
And so I, you know, someday maybe I'll get that chance. But when we come back from break, I want you guys to think about this, because this might take you a few minutes to think about. April asks, "What is the clearest EVP you ever got, and the longest EVP you ever got?" So you can think about that for a little bit, because, you know, you may think about it and go, "Is this one? No, it's probably this one." So this way you got a couple minutes to think about that. So everybody, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. We will be back shortly. So if you have any questions at all and you want them answered, get them in the chats, either one of them, and I will make sure I get them asked and answered. And if you don't have chat, you want to send me a message on Facebook, go ahead and do that. I can get that too. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes. WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Several U.S. presidents are on record talking about the UFO mystery.
Yeah, Presidents Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan both had UFO sightings of their own, but the current presidential campaign might be the first in which UFO disclosure has been championed by a major party candidate.
DIA, CIA, it moves around, is operating a program to train psychic spies to spy and use their powers against Russia. John Ronson writes about this in The Men Who Stare at Goats.
The first known sighting of a ghost took place right after Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in the late 1860s during the administration of Ulysses Grant.
Project Paperclip, Clinton releases it all in 1998.
Possibly the unequal cooling of its surface.
I say, do you still think it's a meteor, Professor?
I don't know what to think. The metal casing is definitely extraterrestrial.
It's a place where UFO hunters and scientists gather to examine paranormal activity in the region.
Some of the documents, this is bringing Nazi scientists into the United States to work here. So we fought against the Nazis, and it's not, this again is not a revelation. As early as 1947, 1946, we knew some of this, right?
On the paranormal, will we see U.S. President Barack Obama's foreign policy go intergalactic in a quest for gold stolen by aliens? We'll tell you at least how the White House responded to claims the chief executive has been teleporting to Mars. But let's get to today's Capitol account.
UFOs, hauntings, psychic abilities, conspiracy, ESP, cryptozoology. There are many things that remain unexplained in the inexplicable world around us, and we're talking about them here, looking for answers on WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama. The truth is out there.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to the Paranormal Pride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore. And when we left, I had asked the Barrys some questions, and they were from April. It was, what is the clearest EVP you ever got?
So my clearest EVP I ever got was in Ohio State Reformatory. We were doing a project for Destination America, and I went in solitary confinement. And I'll make it as short as I can.
You don't have to.
Okay. We had to be in one confined space for 10 minutes and no longer than 10 minutes. So I had a Poltercom set up. I had some other things set up. And I was holding a camera, and I was being filmed in another direction, too. So as I came into the cell, I said, "Hi, my name is Pam. Has a woman ever been in your cell before? I want to sit on your bed. I hope that's okay with you." So I sat down. And then through the Poltercom, it said hopeless. And I said, "No, it's not hopeless. You don't have to stay here." I'm sure there were a lot of innocent men, because Ohio State Reformatory was open in the 1800s, and it didn't close for business until, I think 1990. So I told him that he didn't have to stay here. He didn't have to linger, that he could go to the other side. And then my camera went off, and you could hear it go click. And I said, "That's not nice. That's mine." And through the Poltercom, it said, "No, it's mine." And then my vision's not really good, so I had to turn the camera over, turn it back on, and I said, "Please don't do that anymore." And then through the Poltercom, it said, I am the front man, and I'm going to kill you." And I said, I never am disrespectful to spirit ever, but being alone, I felt like I needed to, without disrespecting, I needed to stand my ground a little bit, but I was in their environment, so I was totally invading their privacy. So I said, "You're dead, and I'm alive, and you can't hurt me, but I can help you." And then my 10 minutes was up. So I went immediately, when I could, up to Scott Kukul. He was our tour leader, and he was all the way on the other side. And I said, "Scott, I've never been in jail. What is a front man?" And he was like, where were you at? And I said, "I was down in solitary confinement." And he told us that back in the 1980s, a police officer was jumped, and the killer and the lookout man, the front man, was also sentenced to death. So
wow.
That was pretty clear. So, Steve, what about you?
The best EVP I ever got was in our store.
Oh, that was a good one, yeah?
Yeah, we had I was going to show them some of these, but you won't hear them on here. We got a soldier. We were actually having people being touched in the store when we first opened up. So we decided to put a recorder out and a K2 meter on one of our showcases. And there's just 4 of us in the room. We were asking questions. About 2 minutes into it, 2.5 minutes into it, we got a soldier. A friend said, "Do you know the South lost the war?" And he answered, how do you feel about that? And he yelled, "We won? Wow!" So we captured that. That was crystal clear.
Yeah, that was a good one, too.
Yeah. That's the first one.
I'd love to hear that someday. Okay, and now, while you're still on here, what about your longest EVP?
I think mine was the Ohio State Reformatory because it was 2 spirits, but we were actually having conversation. But then we did get one here at the Lookout House that we were sitting in the Darb room, and we weren't getting too much. So Steve goes, "Let's move to the Victorian." So we got all of our equipment. We went into the Victorian room. He's looking to see if he can find it right now.
No, I'm trying to find what's going on here.
Oh, okay. So we go into the Victorian room. He turns the recorder back on, and you hear a woman saying, "Don't touch that." And then you hear a little child going, "Look at the equipment." But he goes, "Look at equipment," like a kid does, kind of like not pronouncing the words correctly. So it validated that the spirit kind of was listening to us in the Darb room, and then chose to communicate when we got into the Victorian room.
This EVP, I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it because the stove is loud in here. But this is captured in a town of Greeley, PA, up by Milford, at a friend's house. I had the group, a paranormal group, which I called Dark Illusions, back in 2010, I think it was. And they asked us to come to their house. Her husband thought she was cheating on him and was putting recorders all around the house. So she asked me if I come check her house out. She said there's a spirit in her house. So I brought my team up there, and at first I went by myself, and I went into the room, and I asked some questions, and I got a guy saying to me in one of the bedrooms, "I don't like much people," exactly how he talked. So I brought that down, and I showed the husband. I said, I was upstairs by myself, and I did ask a couple questions, and this is what I got. And I said, there's no one else up there but me. And I played it, and he was in shock. The next day, we brought DVR systems in, all the equipment in, and we had what sounded like a shotgun go off inside the house over there. I mean, it's so loud. You can find out on YouTube under Dark Illusions 2010. You can see the video on there. And you actually hear it sounds like a gunshot go off in the house. Well, I captured a lot of EVPs. I went over to that house day after day after day and asked some questions. This is what I got. I still haven't figured out exactly what he's saying. Hopefully you can hear it. Here it goes. That's the longest EVP I ever got. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard something, but it sounded like words, but I couldn't hear what the words were.
Yeah, I'm trying to stop it to play it again.
I think I know what it says, but
what do you think it says?
Wait a minute. Let's play it one more time so I don't leave people.
Let's have your birthday. That's not it. Right after that.
Okay.
Here it is, right here.
Did you hear it?
Yeah, I still couldn't make out the words, and it could just be
I think it says,
me.
Shall I seize, like siege, like to attack? Should we siege again, make the cannons boom? That's what I think it says.
I thought I heard siege in there. But I was like...
This is good here pretty clear. They say happy birthday, and they say it real quick. Ready? Happy birthday. That was my friend's birthday. This is the creepiest one I got. Hold on. Same house. Wait, I gotta find it first. That's it right there. It's number 3, huh? How nice was it? I think it's 3. Listen to this. He's saying, "Get out! I'm watching you."
Oh, that's not good.
Right?
Hopefully you weren't in the shower.
Hey. Yeah, you'll hear him right here. Hold on. I'm trying to get back to where it's at. Get back to number 3. There you go. You can say it again. There's so many spirits in this house. Get out of the house. You want to say that one on that one, number 6?
Yeah, that's not the lookout house. That's a different house.
I'm trying to get back to that, huh? What was it?
Speaking of not feeling comfortable in the shower, there is a spirit and the lookout house that does watch you in the shower. Kind of unsettling, we'll say.
Yeah, huh? Trying to get 5. He yells, "Get out of the house!" Huh? Right there, get out of the house.
Yeah.
There's a guy that's in there, an old guy in this house up in Milford. I'm gonna shut this off on it. He seemed to be getting very aggravated that I was there every day asking questions. But there's a lot of other spirits in there. Like when I went up there, I'd walk around with a K2 meter and my recorder, because that's what I love doing. And I got some EVPs where it says, "Shh, here he comes." And then I got a real wise guy that I said, "It's pretty sad you won't tell me your name." And he comes back right on the recorder saying, "That is sad." So there's several spirits in that house. I haven't been back up there because I moved down to Gettysburg. I am welcome back there, but my friends that own the house up there, they're taking care of their mother who has lost her legs to diabetes. And so they're taking care of her. So it'd be better that, just sort of let them be for now. And down the road, we'll go back to that house. And I can't wait to go back because it's been so long since I've been in that house to talk to these spirits. I wonder how they're going to welcome me. So I used to go there every day and talk to them. And they'd answer me every day. If I acted like there was a war going on, like the American-French War? What was the thing? Anyway, I got whatever war was in Matamoros, Pennsylvania. Came through there. This was that war. And I act like something like I need more cannonballs or I need some ammunition. They start answering me. So it's really cool. I love that house.
That sounds like a neat place to go. I hope their mother's comfortable. Yeah, there's not much else. That's the only thing I can say.
Yeah.
Yep, we were very good friends. I keep in contact with them through Facebook. My daughters live up there, so when I go up to see my daughters, I go over and visit them. But that house is something. To me, it's a portal because it seems like I get different spirits every time I'm in that house. Except for that one grumpy old guy.
It is interesting when the spirits start communicating with you on that level. And I would say that since it was sarcastic, it's probably from Baltimore.
Yeah, I agree. Who's a really good person to talk to is Frank, with Frank and Don. They talk about, they do Hotel California in California. And they will be at the back. Frank is going to be speaking about Hotel California and the effects that Hotel California had on him over the years.
Well, that would be, go ahead.
Well, I asked him in the house, actually I have on it's on recording that someone on my files on my USB sticks. But I was in the house and I said, "Come on, people, tell me who you are." And they yelled in the distance here, "We're from Mexico. We're the Mexican Heart." That's what they said. And that was a crystal clear EVP I got.
Wow.
And we found out Senor Matamoros came through Matamoros, Pennsylvania. That's why it's called Matamoros. So his army came through there. So it was pretty cool that we are from Mexico. We are the Mexican Heart. We came over that. It was amazing.
Have you ever been, let's say, do it this other way. Have you come across any spirits around the Gettysburg area that are not historic, more recent than the Civil War?
Well, actually, if you don't ask them who they are and pretty much say, a lot of them tell you who they are, so you don't know actually what time period they're from. Like Suicide Bridge, I would say Suicide Bridge.
Yeah.
You probably get more people that are more in the modern day era than they are from the war
Right,
era.
and that's very sad energy over there. It's people who have committed suicide. So it's very sad. And I say to my friends who are going over there, don't separate. At least have two people with you.
That's always good to know, because sometimes you don't know how much energy a spirit can have.
Right.
Because I've seen some. Yeah, like I said, I've seen some spirits that have enough energy to throw a folding chair across a 12-foot room.
Right.
So it's always good to have somebody else with you, regardless of if it's a dangerous place or not. Because who's to say that maybe some of these people that fell off this bridge, it wasn't a suicide. Maybe they fell off because they were clumsy and didn't have anybody with them. You just never know. And, some of the places that you guys have said you've been are very dangerous places, and you should have somebody with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it always...
The Olympia? Is that the ship that's in Philadelphia? I think it's the Olympia, the name of it. I was filming in there, and we were filming our Paranormal After Party show, and we had Chris, who was a little person, filming with me, and Chris and I went all the way down to the very bottom of that ship, to the coal bins. And the only way you get into the coal bins is you have to go through this little tiny thin hallway of metal, iron, that you have to slide down through there.
I couldn't have gone.
Barely fit in there. And it was funny because I was with Joe Chin at the time and his sister, Christine. And Christine had said to me, "Hey, Steve, are you feeling all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I feel great. Why?" And she goes, "You just don't look good." And I said, No, I feel fine. I went down into the thing. You had to go down 3 sets of ladders that spiral all the way down. And then you got to go through this little wall, and then you go through this little wall that's like 20 feet long, and then you're into like where all the coal used to be. And some guys died in there. So me and Chris were the only two that could fit in there. And we went back there, and we were doing EVPs. And the funny thing is, after we filmed, I came back out, and we did the whole show, and we ended up leaving, going to the hotel. The next morning, I was with Anthony, my friend, and he had to go to LaGuardia Airport. So I rode home with one of our other teammates, and I slept all the way home. It was, which was really weird for me to do that. And it was 2 days after, a day after that, I went in full cardiac arrest. So if I had died and had the cardiac arrest inside that coal bin, they would never got me out.
They would have to chop me up in little pieces.
Yeah, the only way they would have got me out, honestly. They would have had to cut a hole through the iron and get me through. There's no way they could have got a EMT guy through there. I had to suck the little gut I got on me just to fit down through there, but I wouldn't have.
We do some dangerous things as investigators. We're in lead paint. We're in small spaces.
Never go by yourself, and don't go in tight spaces if you have health. Well, I know I had health issues at that time with my heart, but I don't now, so I wouldn't do that again. But so I wouldn't go, especially if you have health issues. Never go investigating by yourself. because you don't know. It's the same thing like if you're a hunter or fisherman or something like that. Don't do it by yourself because you won't have the help to respond in time.
That's true. In some places, you're too far away from a hospital. You got to be careful.
I was,
you know,
when I went in cardiac arrest, I was 55 minutes from the hospital. They had to drive 55 minutes to get me there.
That's scary.
That was very scary, especially when you die 3 times in an ambulance.
They didn't give you any. Did they give you any aspirin as soon as they got to you?
Well, what they do is they told me on the phone to take 2 aspirin. Well, 1 aspirin. I already taken 1 325 aspirin. I had taken before the cardiac arrest happened. So something told me to take 1. I took it. It wasn't chewable. But what they want you to do is take 3 chewable aspirins. That thins your blood out enough that it'll supposedly keep you alive until you make it to the hospital, because it thins your blood out that much. People don't realize how much aspirin does thin your blood out. I'm not a doctor, but I'm just telling you what they told me. So I carry aspirin with me all the time. I tell people, if you're not allergic to aspirin, ask your doctor if you're over the age of 50 and you're investigating. I always tell anyone around, just carry aspirin with you in your tools or your equipment bag. So.
Yeah. When I have a first aid kit, and it does have aspirin, Tylenol, and Advil in it, just in case. But, we could talk. What we should have in our first aid kits and what we all do have in our first aid kits is questionable anyway. But we are at our next break. Everyone, you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. This is your last chance to ask questions in the chat room, so get them in there, and we will be back.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 45 minutes after the hour.
Okay. I thought you said live. Welcome back to the Paranormal Ride. I'm your host, Denise Pridemore, and my guests tonight have been Pamela and Steve Barry, and they have been a wealth of information. And before we go any further, I want to get out to everybody. Where are you guys going to be coming up here?
Where are we going to be?
Well, right now, nowhere because of COVID-19. Yeah, I went from working constantly to nothing because, Governor Wolf said, no, don't do it anymore. So we are listening. I am in the middle of detoxing and sanitizing the historic Lookout House. So we are preparing for our people. I guess the next place we'll be at, I'm guessing the Bash. Besides our store. As soon as we're allowed to reopen, we will reopen. And we're at 271 Baltimore Street with Mark Nesbitt.
Are you guys doing online sales at all?
Yes, we are. And we have been going live on Facebook just because it's fun. But yes, we do have an online store. It's the Gettysburg Ghost Exchange. And most people look at our website and then they call us because we're very personable and we're very close with our customers. So they usually look and see what they want and then they call us, which is totally fine. And we take it from there. But we do absolutely have online orders too.
Well, this time people need to know that so that your business can continue to make some money, hopefully, during this downtime.
Yeah, hopefully. Our number is 717-521-7465. Anybody can call. I've been 11, 12 o'clock at night texting people back about equipment if they've been on an investigation and they're having issues with their equipment. We're there. We're on it. We give customer service 24/7.
Well, maybe you shouldn't do it 24/7. You should sleep some.
I know, but we do.
So there you go, guys. Go make sure you check out the information on the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash page. There's an event page out there on Facebook that has all the information. And there was the other web page. Didn't you have it on another web page too?
We have like an event. You know how you can make an event,
Mm-hmm.
but the like page is more up to date. So make sure you go to the like page. Hit that link if you want a room. It merely holds that room for you. It doesn't charge. We're having the bash before the bash on Friday. We're going to have karaoke, and we're going to have
a lot of rooms. They might run them now. They're 3/4 of the way sold.
Yeah, we're 3/4 of the way sold out. So if you're even thinking that you might want to come to the bash, I would suggest that you get your room.
And we feel the virus will be out here by July.
Yeah.
We're actually beginning of August.
Yeah.
So.
We just had a meeting with the Wyndham, and we're up to date on all the COVID-19. At this point in time, the Gettysburg Battlefield Bash is on point, on target. If not, everyone gets a refund. I will hold no vendors' money. Absolutely. in, you have these amazing parties. And when I say party, like I kind of gone to some events where they have a party and they have cheese and crackers and stuff, which is very, very nice. But this is like a banquet. And I said to Steve, why didn't I come here hungry? Are you kidding me? It looked like I was at a wedding that was amazing food. So the next night for the next party, I went there hungry.
Huh. Well, as I said, it sounds interesting. I'll have to see how far that is and how far, if we've got time to make a trip to that far north.
And then there is, Brian Pierce is putting on one at, that is in June now because he had to move it. It's actually in Essex at their Historical Society. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be back in my hometown.
It's where?
It's in Essex at the Historical Society.
You know, everybody keeps talking about that Historical Society. I'm like, I don't even know where it is. And I mean, I walked all over that town.
Yep, it's on Eastern Avenue. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, like I said, I'll know it when I see it. But maybe it wasn't the Historical Society when I left there in 1981. You know?
No, it's been there for a long time because I used to go there when they had the Essex Day parades and stuff and the Essex Day Festival. Me and my mom would go in.
Do you know when I lived there, I never saw an Essex Day parade or an Essex Day festival. And we lived there from 1975 to, 1981. And then I moved back in 84. And I was gone before they would have had one in 84. But, and I went to Stemmers Run. So, it's right off Eastern Avenue. It's like, so, I had to walk up and down Eastern Avenue. I mean, Geno's was right there. I mean, I had got some injuries at Geno's, but that was because there was this big bar that went through the middle of the floor, went straight up, ran into it many times. Oh, it was horrible. Like I said, I have all kinds of, if I say Mars grocery store, people look at me like I'm weird. Or my mom worked at Gershbeck's at Mr. G's Donuts. So if you had went in there in 1981 to 84, first thing in the morning, she was the one that made all the donuts.
I've got you. Well, I'm sure that I've eaten her donuts because I was raised down there. So
yeah,
my mom lived across from Benji's Drive, and she lived in Williams Estate.
Also haunted. Benji's Drive-In is haunted.
Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Those bathrooms are like scary as anything. When I was a teenager, I got in and got out.
It was in the third to last row. I would see Native Americans walking through there, some Revolutionary War soldiers walking through there all the time, and it was like, how can you watch a movie when you're seeing all this stuff? And it is weird, but sometimes you'd see them up by the screen. And that was even weird.
Dirty Harry. That tells you my age.
Okay. Do you remember when at Martin's Airport there was so when there's Hawthorne Elementary School, you got the creek, and then you've got all of that Martin's over there. They actually filmed part of Dog Day Afternoon over there, and I got yelled at by Al Pacino.
Oh my gosh!
For climbing the fence. So,
cool.
Yeah, I didn't know what they were doing. I just climbed the fence. But yeah, so, and I went to Hawthorne Elementary School too. So, but that's, like I said, it's a weird thing when people know where you grew up. And
I went to on Bird River Road.
On which one?
Bird River Road, Our Lady Queen of Peace.
Oh, okay. A lot of those kids ended up going to the junior high and the high schools.
Then I moved into the city then and went to St. Elizabeth.
Yeah, because like I said, a bunch of the kids that went to Mount Carmel, they went there until 7th, 8th grade, and then they went over to Stemmers or came out and went to Kenwood or whatever. But that was, like I said, it's a long time. And, it's strange when I talk about these places now and I remember all the things that were haunted back then, like the tunnel going under the railroad tracks going to the, can't remember, I think over to the Village of Tall Trees, and seeing stuff in there and trying to explain it to people. They look at you like, what are you talking about? Were you drinking?
I don't think
no, I was
there.
14.
I think I tore that down, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably. Like I said, the last time I saw that was 1981. So a lot of things have changed. So I know everybody thinks back to when they were kids and everything's bigger and everything. And when I lived out there, they had just built 702 through.
Okay. Yeah.
702 ended at a house and at a T road. So that tells you something. That's been a long time.
Last time I was in the city, I was at DeVille Inc. We were investigating Tony DeVille and Casey DeVille's tattoo place. Got some amazing EVPs there. Amazing. He's in Dundalk.
Yep. I could. My sister called me about 3 weeks ago. What was the name? Where did we used to live in Dundalk? And I was like, I had to look it up. It was an apartment complex where you could see Sparrow Point from. It actually was out on the water. But what isn't out on the water? You know?
Exactly.
And so she didn't know because she was looking, and it's like, yeah, we were on the 3rd floor apartment, and she goes, I just need the name of the complex. And so I had to look it up for her, and she was like, how do you remember all this? I said, because it's useless information. I can remember useless crap. So,
and I can't remember. I asked the sibling too.
Yeah, we all do. I want to thank you guys so much for being on. And I hope to someday make it out there to meet you guys, because I'm looking forward to, Ron and Glenn will get along great. They're both big metal band fans and both really into politics. So they'll enjoy themselves a lot. And and I know he really loves his rum. So, and like I said, I have rum. And so we want to come out and visit you guys. I don't think it's going to be this year. All of our stuff's gotten pushed back because of the lovely virus. And we have to put in vacation.
You should come on our paranormal cruise. It's January into February 7th. It's 2021. January 2021. We've got plenty of time for the virus to get out of here.
Yeah, hopefully they get all the viruses cleaned off all the ships.
They will.
So... But
so many times, I'm not afraid. I wouldn't go now, though. I would not go now.
No, it's just a rolling. Yeah, might as well just go hang out with a bunch of kindergartners that don't wash their hands. Right. And so everybody, I'd like to thank you all for listening tonight. My guest next week is Eric Perry from. He's up there in the Northwest. He's Haunted New England, and this will be he's been on my show before. I think he was like one of my 2nd or 3rd paranormal friends that I ever met on Facebook, and we've talked quite a few times, and so he's going to come on, and he's got a new book out, and I'd like to since I've known him so long now, it's like before all the books, before the coloring book, before all of that, I knew him before. So it'll be nice to catch up with him. And like I said, I really enjoyed talking to you guys. This was probably one of the easiest interviews I've ever done because it's more like, hey, I'm talking to somebody I grew up with. And I don't know when you graduated from high school. I don't know how old you are, but it seems like we meshed here with a lot of same things. So... But if you guys, have anything you need me to share, just let me know and we'll get it out there. But everybody come back next Monday at 7 p.m. Central, and we'll be here again. And everybody stay safe, wash your hands, smile, and remember, this isn't the end. We got better ways to go than this. So you're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama, and we'll see you soon.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.